So there's still a few people arriving, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to get going with some introductions and then we'll move on to the main presentation. So good afternoon. I hope you're all having a nice afternoon. Lovely sunny day for it. So you've joined the 5 secrets to getting more leads from your website. My name's Rob. I'm the founder of Redbox Web Design. I have been in the digital marketing industry for the last 20 years. I've been running Redbox for the last 14 years. And in this time, myself and the team have designed, built and tested hundreds and hundreds of websites. And essentially that is where these 5 tactics come from. So they're the top 5 things that we've kind of learned over these years that have the biggest impact on the number of leads you get through your website. At the end of the presentation, as a bit of a thank you for staying till the end, there is a bonus tool. This is a completely free tool that we implemented on our site, and it doubled the number of leads we got overnight. So hang around if you want to find out what that is. We have Claire, our business development manager, at the end of the chat. So she's supporting me on the webinar today. So if you've got any questions, fire them over to Claire using the chat box or the question box. So just so you know, when you post a question, no one else sees the question unless we answer it publicly. So if Claire responds publicly, then everyone else will see the question. So feel free to use the question section. If at any point in this webinar you think this stuff's really cool, however, I'm too busy to implement it, or for whatever reason, my web provider can't implement this kind of stuff, then reach out to us and we'll see if we can help you. Best thing to do is drop Claire an email. So Claire's address is claire@redboxweb.co.uk. Reach out to Claire and we'll see if we can help. So I'm going to kick things off with a quick poll. So this is a feature of the webinar that a box will pop up with a question, and the question is going to be, did you know Redbox before signing up? So we've got a mixed audience today, so I just want to get a feel for answer yes if you already know us, maybe you are a customer or you know us through networking, if you can click yes. If you didn't know of us and signed up through a LinkedIn or a Facebook post, then put no. So I'm going to launch the poll now. So that should open on your screen. If you could just select yes or no as to whether you knew Redbox before signing up for the webinar. Fantastic, loads of answers there. So it looks like slightly more people do know us than don't know us. So let's get going. First of all, what is a website conversion? When we're talking about getting more leads, we're talking about getting more conversions. So a conversion is what we call in marketing world as a call to action. So we are calling the visitor to make some kind of action. Now that could be a sale. So it could be they've gone right ahead and bought your product or placed an inquiry. But most of the time it's going to be something that is leading up to that sale. So they are initiating a conversation or initiating some kind of relationship. So these kind of call to actions, they're still conversions because we're getting that lead into the business. So it could be an inquiry form, it could be a phone call, it could be subscribing to a mailing list. Maybe they want a price list or a quote, or registering for an event. So lots of other call to actions, but it's essentially there should be an action on our website that we want the visitor to take, which is the next step to them to becoming a customer. And that is what we're calling a conversion or a lead. So what is conversion rate? Very simply, it is the number of leads you get from the number of visitors you get. So if you have a website and you get 1,000 visitors in a month and 10 of these visitors contact you and become a lead, that is a 1% conversion rate. Now, most small business websites have a less than a 1% conversion rate. So out of all the people that visit your website, only 1% actually take an action on the website. Now, this isn't unusual. So it's nothing really to worry about, but we can improve this conversion rate. Today's presentation is purely about increasing the conversion rate using the existing traffic that you get in. If you were to double the traffic you get, you're obviously going to get twice as many leads, but you're not actually improving your conversion rate. So all the tactics here are how to make the conversion rate higher, so getting more leads from the same number of visitors. So what should your conversion rate be is a question that I get asked quite a lot. There isn't really a right or wrong answer. If I explain why, so 1% conversion rate could actually be a good conversion rate if you get lots of traffic to your website that you don't pay for. So if your website ranks really well in search engines, you've got free traffic coming to your website, and if you sell a product where there's quite a good margin on it, so say you make £100 per transaction, then a 1% conversion rate is quite good because you're not paying for that traffic. On the flip side, a 10% conversion rate could actually be bad. So if all your traffic comes from paid ads, then potentially if you have a low margin on your product or service, then you could actually be losing money even if you've got a high conversion rate. So really it depends on how you're getting the traffic to your website and what is the value of a lead or a conversion to your business that determines what a good conversion rate is. So just a little disclaimer before I get into the 5 secrets. Are they actually secret? They're not actually secrets. However, you would think they are because most websites don't have these things. There may be 1 or 2 that you kind of have implemented in your website. If you have, brilliant. But most websites don't have these fundamentals. So let's go straight into it with tactic number 1. So this is the S.T.A.R.T trust model. So essentially, how are you going to prove to your visitor that what you're saying is correct? You can literally put anything on your website. You could hire the most wonderful copywriter to write beautiful, engaging text. You could use wonderful stock photos, but people won't believe that text unless there are some fundamentals that prove that what you're saying is correct. So this is where the S.T.A.R.T trust model comes in. So S stands for stars. So you'll all be familiar with Amazon, uses the star rating on products, and I'm guessing most of you have bought from Amazon, and you will look out for products that have got a high number of stars and a high number of reviews for that product. So this example that's on screen, similar product, similar price, but the one at the top, it's got an extra half a star, so it's got an average of 4.5, and it's got over 11,000 people who've rated that product as really good. So I would naturally pick that product because it's been trusted by 11,000 people. So how can we use this in our own businesses? So there are a number of recognized platforms, and it is important that you do use a recognized, trusted platform where people know that you can't really submit fake reviews. There's Google and Trustpilot tend to be the most popular, but there are other industry specific ones. But essentially, if you aren't using a review platform, and I mean actively trying to get your customers, your happy customers, to leave you reviews, then that's your first step. Start using a recognized review platform. Once you've got that set up and you've started getting reviews, you want to then display those stars on your website. Ideally, every single page. Every page of your website should be looking for a conversion. So it should be selling what you do. So wherever you're looking for a conversion, which should be all pages, you want those star rates. So here's a great example. HR company, UK-based HR company. They've got on their homepage right at the top, they've got their stars showing that they get 4.9 out of 5 based on nearly 5,000 reviews. So instantly, without really thinking about it, I suddenly trust this company because nearly 5,000 customers say they are excellent. On our website, we show our Google star reviews. We put the number of reviews. And likewise, here's a customer site where we're showing the Google logo, the star reviews, the number of reviews, and we've actually embedded some of the reviews from Google. Now, don't get too hung up if you don't have lots of all 5 stars. It actually looks more real if you've got some slightly lower ones because it looks more genuine. So brilliant customer of ours, Plumbits, they've got an average of 4.5 based on 70 reviews. So that's really, really positive and you read that and you start building trust with them. So that's the first part of the S.T.A.R.T model, is stars. Next is testimonials, so T for testimonials. A lot of people have testimonials on their website. I've seen lots of dodgy ones in my time where people have just made them up. You need to put real testimonials on your website, and you need to make it obvious they're real. So include the person's name, include their company, ideally include a photo of them or their logo, and it just makes it feel like it is a genuine testimonial. The last thing you want is for your testimonials to look like you've just made them up. Here's a great example of combining testimonials with the star reviews, and that's something you can do with most of the review platforms. So moving on to A, accreditations. If you have any kind of accreditations or associations to recognised bodies, then display those logos. It just subconsciously, as people scan through your site, it's just adding those elements of trust. So it's building their trust up. So when they read everything else on your website, they're more likely to trust what they're reading. If you haven't got any accreditations, maybe use some customer logos. So if you're a local business targeting local businesses, then put the logos of recognisable businesses you've worked for on your website, and it just helps people think, okay, well, if these guys have used them, then I can trust them as well. And R stands for real people. So people buy off people. So having people photos on your website, whether it is staff or customers, helps subconsciously build trust because they're seeing people using your product, they're seeing happy customers. It's just helping them believe what they're reading around these elements. So once we've got those 4 elements in place, we can then look at our text, because by having the first 4 things, we can then look at the text and people will believe what we're writing. So just review your website text and include words that kind of inspire trust. So I've highlighted a couple of examples here. So again, we're only going to believe this because it's got star reviews, smiley customer in the background, so we're starting to feel like we can trust them. So when they tell us that every day they help hundreds of people who've been injured in accidents, we actually believe that is the case. There's one here that I've highlighted which is showing 26 years of service. So all these things combined just mean that we now trust what this website is telling us. So that is the S.T.A.R.T trust model. At the end of each section, I've created a little action checklist for you. Don't worry too much about jotting these down. At the end, I'll give you a link to be able to download the full checklist for each section. But essentially, what you want to do to implement this is, if you aren't using a recognised review platform, then start to use one. And try and actively get reviews from customers every time you get a nice comment or every time you deliver a product or service. Display your review stars on every page of your website. Display real customer testimonials. Display the accreditation logos if you've got them on your website. If not, try and get permission to use some customer logos. And use real photos wherever possible, real photos of people, staff, customers, or as a last resort, stock photos of people that look like they could be your typical customer. And finally, once all that's in place, review the text you're using and make sure you're including words that are associated with trust. So, quick poll. Who is using a review star system on their website? So I'm going to launch this poll, and there are 4 answers. So if you could answer on there. So do you display review stars on your website? Yes, on every page. Yes, on some pages. No, but we collect them. Or no, we don't collect reviews yet. Fantastic, thank you. So the results of that are, so nobody uses them on every page. 15% on some pages, 70% yes, they do collect them, but they don't display them, and a small percentage don't collect reviews yet. So hopefully you found that useful. So moving on to tactic number 2 is answer their objections. Now, if you've done any kind of sales training, you'll understand the importance of being able to answer customer objections in a sales situation. Now, when somebody visits your website, it's not a sales situation because they can't ask you, they can't give you their objections there and then. So you need to think about what objections somebody might have to using your product and try and answer those objections. So an example of a few objections they might have: how much is it? How long will it take? So if they're ordering something, or if they are buying a service off you, how long is it going to take? What's the next step? How long will I have to commit for? And will your service work for my business? Now, these are just a tiny handful of possible examples. So if you kind of really examine your business and think, what could somebody on my website possibly be thinking? Why aren't they getting in touch with me? What objections have they got? Are they worried that we're going to be too expensive? Are they worried that we might not be able to fit them in the next few days? Whatever those objections are, if you can try and think of them and answer those objections, then they're more likely to reach out and get in touch with you. And you want to answer those objections as close as you can to your call to action. So your call to action is it might be an inquiry form, it might be a buy now button, it might be a get in touch button. So wherever you're asking the visitor to take some kind of action, you want to be answering those objections. So brilliant example of this is Netflix. So you're probably all aware of Netflix. They stream movies. Because they stream movies, their potential customers might think, well, if it's a streaming service, can the kids watch it in the car, or can I watch it in the garden without Wi-Fi? Another question might be, well, do I have to sign a contract? So they've identified the two biggest questions that a customer would have, two biggest objections, is those two things, and they've answered them literally before you scroll down the website. So you can watch it anywhere and you can cancel at any time. So they've overcome the first two objections, and they've put it right next to their call to action button, which is join free for a month. Next example is National Accident Helpline. So they've obviously making a claim on an accident, lots of questions that the customer could have. So they've identified the top 4 questions that the customer could have, and they've answered them directly on their website, on both their homepage and the landing pages from their ads. So quite a simple one really, but quite often gets overlooked. So the action step checklist is: number 1, write a list of objections that your potential customers might have when they're on your website, and pick probably the top 5. You're not going to be able to answer them all, but pick the top 5 that you think will be asked most, and put them on your website, ideally answering them next to the call to action, so they don't miss them. Don't just hide them within your text, because most people won't read all the text on your website. So that was number 2. Moving on to tactic number 3. This is removing the risk. So what do we mean by this? Well, the human fear of loss is a very powerful emotion. So as people are on your website, they could be worried that they're going to lose money if it doesn't do what it says it does. Essentially, what you need to try and do is remove the perceived risk of taking the action. If you can remove the perceived risk, then they're more likely to take the action. Simple way of doing this is offer a guarantee. Now, some businesses find it difficult to come up with a guarantee, or perhaps worry they can't honour a guarantee. So I'm just going to run you through some examples that will hopefully change your mind on that. So a lot of businesses offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. Now, if you're confident in your product or service, that is a potential one you could go with. Some businesses offer a lifetime guarantee on kind of high-end products. You could offer a service guarantee. Looking at the list of attendees today, a lot of service businesses. So what is it about your service that you're so confident in that you can offer some kind of guarantee? So at Redbox, we have a fantastic support team, and we guarantee that we'll respond to every support email within within office hours, within an hour. So that is a guarantee that we can kind of put our money where our mouth is and say, we will contact you, we'll respond within an hour, or you get your next month for free. So what is there about your service that you can kind of guarantee? And I've just realized I spelled guarantee wrong, so apologies for the typo. Lowest price guarantee, use with caution. Can you actually be the lowest? And if you are, just be careful with that one, but it may be that you can offer the lowest price guarantee. Happiness guarantee or satisfaction guarantee. This is a little bit easier because it's hard to quantify, and potentially less people will actually ask for any kind of money back on a happiness guarantee. And again, if you're doing things right within your business and providing great product or service, then a satisfaction or a happiness guarantee is something you could offer. And finally, we've got extreme guarantees. So a couple of great examples of this. Zappos.com, they offer a 365-day returns policy. And then you probably all heard of the mattress, where you can buy the mattress and you get a 100-day guarantee. In reality, probably not many people take them up on this. You know, if you've slept on a mattress for 3 months, are you actually going to return it? A lot of hassle. So people probably don't use these guarantees very often. However, it's such a powerful message that they are so confident that you'll love the mattress that they offer that as a guarantee. So a few more examples. Guarantee to close more details. This is a guarantee that's offered by a customer relationship management software. Save 1 day every week is a guarantee that's offered by a project management software. So essentially, what can you guarantee about your product and service? So try and identify something that you're confident about, and then just simply add a guarantee to remove the risk. So moving on to the next section, this is tactic number 4, possibly one of my favorite ones. Change your CTA to CCTA. What does that mean, I hear you ask? So let me explain. So CTA in marketing speak is call to action. And what I'm encouraging you to do is to, instead of using a call to action, use a compelling call to action. And I'll explain why. So compelling, the definition of compelling is to evoke interest, attention, or admiration in a powerfully irresistible way. So what does this actually mean? So here we have Mr. Smug. He believes that his product or his service is so awesome that whoever's on the website, they'll scroll wherever, they'll hunt through, and they will find his contact details because they really want to use his product or his service. So unfortunately, it doesn't work like that, because if as people browse, they're looking at your competitors at the same time. If your competitor is making it easier and more compelling for you to contact them, then they're going to use your competitor. So let me show you some examples of how not to do it and how to do it. So we have an engineering company, nice modern website, you know, nice wording telling us that they get it right every time. So, you know, it's one of their staff. So they're doing a few things to make me kind of want to engage with them possibly. Scroll down the website. Yep, they have a global expertise. Fantastic. They tell us what they do. Bit of news, wonderful, and then we get to the bottom of the website. So there's been nothing to kind of compel me to get in touch. They've kind of hidden their phone number and email in the footer at the bottom. So this is the kind of thing that most websites do. It simply isn't going to help your conversion rate. If you want people to get in touch, you need to make it really obvious and make that call to action nice and compelling. Slightly better example, we're actually asking them to get in touch on this website. So we've got a form at the bottom that says get in touch. And above we've got a few testimonials that are obviously real. So slightly better example. What we're actually looking to do is something like this. So the point at which you're asking them to take an action is put some compelling messaging around it. So this one is next steps, contact us today to see how your brand can grow its online potential. So we're asking them to get in touch and we're telling them why. Another example on this site, so this is one of ours, we include a call to action button in 3 places on the homepage. So before you even scroll anywhere, you've got arrange your free consultation today. Scroll down a little bit more, you've got another call to action. Talk to CMS today about tailored workplace mediation and investigation services. And a little bit further down, do you feel stressed or discriminated against at work? Get in touch. So we're giving them a compelling message as why they should get in touch. And one final example, another brilliant example, it doesn't just say get in touch, it explains why you should get in touch. There's a little speech bubble from the managing director with some nice wording, and the button is nice and simple, reserve your consultation with us now. So this is a great example of making your call to action more compelling, and this makes a massive difference. So have a look at your own website and just check with yourself. First of all, have you even got a call to action, or are you just relying on somebody hunting for your email address or phone number? If you have got a call to action, brilliant start. Can you change it to make it more compelling? So instead of just saying, fill in the form, fill in your details and we'll get in touch with you, explain why they would fill in the details. Make it a compelling message. Check that every single page of your website has this compelling call to action. People could land on your website from a search, from a social media post. They're not necessarily going to land on the page you want them to. So you need to make sure that your compelling call to action is on every single page, just like the star reviews I mentioned earlier. And make sure your compelling call to action is easy to find. So on long pages, long scrolling pages, make sure you repeat it. So maybe halfway down the page and again at the bottom. So that brings us to tactic number 5. And this is soft next steps. So as I've kind of alluded to at the beginning, most small businesses have a 1% conversion rate. So what are the other 99%? Where are they going? Why aren't they getting in touch? In reality, most of the visitors to your website aren't ready to either buy from you or to engage with you. So they're not ready to submit a contact us or a get in touch form. They're not ready to buy from you. They're just browsing, and most people will just be browsing. So if you're trying to sell them that end result, the get in touch or the sale or the inquire now, then they're potentially just going to go off and browse other sites until they're ready to make a decision. So to explain how this works, I'm using the 5 stages of the customer journey. So when people hear about you, they enter the awareness phase. So they have landed on your website, maybe from an ad, maybe from a Google search, maybe somebody's recommended you. So they've become aware of you, they've landed on your website. They are going to browse around and kind of engage with your content and kind of get the information that they need to allow them to move into the evaluation phase. Once they've evaluated what you're offering and your competitors' offering, they will then be ready to enter the 4th stage, which is the purchase stage. Now, most websites completely miss out the engagement and the evaluation phase and go straight from awareness, they've just landed on your website and you're asking them to pick up the phone and ring you. They're not going to do that because they potentially know they're going to get a salesperson who's going to try and sell to them. So what most websites miss out is this engagement and evaluation. If you miss those out, you're basically asking somebody to marry you on the first date. What we need to be doing with our websites is asking somebody on a second date rather than asking them to marry us. So the engagement and evaluation phases. What can we add to our websites to help with these two phases? So first one is some kind of video. So by people investing time on your website, by watching and engaging video, they start getting a feeling like they're getting to know you. So if that video contains videos of your team, videos of your customers, maybe giving a testimonial, an explanation, a more detailed explanation of your product or maybe your process, so they know what to expect. By somebody sitting and watching a few minutes of your video, they're starting to engage with you. So videos are brilliant for kind of keeping people on your website and building on that engagement. Get your free report. So it could be some kind of information that allows them to engage. So it could be a downloadable PDF. Essentially what we're looking to do is give them something that they've got. So once they leave your website, they've still got some material where they can be engaging with your material and evaluating as to whether or not to get in touch with you. You could offer some kind of register for webinar. Webinars are great for the engagement phase. So if a customer is just browsing and they see something on your website to register for a webinar, they're potentially going to take that next step because it's not as big a step as reaching out and getting in touch with you. And in that webinar, you can build a relationship with them, you can engage with them. So anything that you can offer to them that isn't asking them to kind of get in touch is helping that engagement phase. Moving on to the evaluation phase. So people, once they've left your website, what can you give them that will allow them to continue the evaluation process? So downloadable PDF, this could be a white paper, it could be an infographic, it could be a kind of how-to guide, anything that is going to allow them to kind of have you, your brand, your business in front of them once they've left your website. If your competitors aren't doing this, if somebody's kind of buying journey is they've had a look at some of your competitors, but you've offered them a downloadable PDF. Once they've finished that kind of browsing, session, they've still got your PDF either on their phone or in their inbox. So they're going to be able to evaluate with you in front of them. You can help with the evaluation phase by offering a free trial. So if you're a software company, that's really easy to offer a free trial. But if you're a service business, what can you do to offer some kind of free trial of your service, a kind of try before you buy? Could you have a kind of free consultation? And that is essentially what we're talking about when we say soften the next step. Don't try and sell the sign up to your product. Try and sell a step before that. Potentially, if you have if you're product based, you could offer a demo. So they are requesting a demo rather than requesting to actually buy your product. Probably I'll go through some examples now, which will help kind of explain this a little bit better. So ultimately, the Academy are trying to sell the digital marketing agency growth system. But before they try and sell you that, they want you to schedule a call with them where they can kind of explain things a little bit more. Now, they're softening the next step because all you're doing is scheduling a free call. Now, it sounds very non-committal. You know, it's not a sales call. We're just scheduling something in. So people are more likely to click on something like that than a get in touch button, because get in touch feels like it's a step further along. Book a demo. So this is a company that offer a demo of their product. And again, they're using the word register now. So it's a lot softer. They're softening that next step. It doesn't feel like a big commitment to register for something. And then they can deliver a product demo before asking you to go ahead and buy their product. Ask us a question is another way of softening that next step. So they're not ready to reach out for you to make an inquiry. However, they may have a question, and by offering them the opportunity to ask that question, it feels again like it's just a smaller step for them to take, and that is going to increase the likelihood that they're going to take this step. Now, the customer kind of sales journey has various stages in it. So you could potentially offer call to actions that actually appeal to the different stages. So this is a brilliant example. If you are in the awareness stage, you've only just come across ClickUp, you would probably watch a demo because you don't know anything about it yet. So they're capturing that very beginning stage. Maybe you've got some questions, so they've got a start a chat button, so you can ask some questions, or maybe you've watched a demo, you've asked some questions, and now you're ready to take it to the next step, and you're ready to either sign up and get in touch. So having a number of different call to actions that suit the different stages in the buying journey is going to encourage the visitor to take an action on your website. And that basically means you're going to get more leads because they're taking them earlier on in the journey. So that is number 5, which is soft next steps. So action checklist for this is look at your website's call to action to make sure that you aren't asking them to jump straight into the end of the sales process. So make sure you aren't asking them to marry you on the first date or the equivalent of. Try and add at least one soft next step so you can engage, so you can allow them to engage and evaluate your product without kind of jumping to the end of the process. So that was tactic number 5. So just to do a quick recap. So first of all is the START trust model. So this is all about building those things on your website. So your stars, your testimonials, your accreditations, real photos, and then the text, building trust. So people are going to trust you as a business, answering their objections before they have to ask, because you aren't on the website for them to ask you. Removing the risk. So can you offer a guarantee that makes it less of a risk for people to reach out and get in touch with you? Are you using a call to action? If you are, is it a compelling call to action? And number 5 was soft next steps. So try to put something on your website that is a next step to getting in touch with you without kind of jumping to the end of the sales process. So that was the 5 tactics. If you implement all of those, I'm pretty certain it will, you'll see a big increase in your conversion rate. Finally, I said there would be a bonus. So we recently implemented this on our site and we instantly saw a double in our conversion rate overnight. This is a tool that will allow you to respond faster, and if you can respond faster, you'll get more leads, and you can overcome objections instantly. It is, of course, a live chat box. So a live chat box, I'm sure you all know what this is. It's a little icon in the bottom, normally the bottom right of your website. And if somebody clicks it, they can have a conversation with you or one of your team. What we're not talking about here is an automated bot. Automated bots, they're good with bigger businesses where you can tend to answer their questions using an automated bot. But for small businesses, which a lot of the attendees of this webinar are today, a live chat is a really cool tool to allow you to instantly engage with visitors, because there'll be visitors on your website sat there right now looking at your pages with questions. And if you can answer those there and then and able to respond fast, then you're going to get more leads. So how do you get a live chat box onto your website? In fact, sorry, I'll just cover some stats first that I found really interesting. So live chat used to be a nice to have. In 2021, it is becoming expected. 41% of customers expect to have live chat on your website, and live chat is expected to grow by as much as 87% over the next 12 to 18 months. And a staggering 46% of customers prefer to use live chat over email and social media messaging. And 63% of customers were more likely to return to a website that offered live chat. Now, this is a really important one. If you imagine you're browsing for a service and you go to 3 companies that offer that service and you're just browsing, if you notice that one has a live chat, you then leave those 3 websites, If you then think of a question, say an hour later or a day later, you're going to go back to the website that had the live chat because you can ask the question there and then. So it does show that people will come back if you've got a live chat. So as I've said, from our own experience, this doubled our number of leads overnight. So we're great advocates of it. Really simple to set up. There are lots of options out there. There are some paid versions. There are some free versions. We did a lot of digging around to find the one that we wanted to use. We found a great free version called Talk.to. And this is used by over 3 million websites worldwide. And they have a completely fully functioning free version. The only thing you get is a little logo at the bottom that just says powered by Talk. So as a special thank you for attending this webinar, we're going to offer you help setting this up. So at the end of the webinar, there'll be a link where you can go straight to Talk. We've become a partner of Talk, set up a free account, and then we will help you get this added to your website. Why we're offering this? Well, as I explained about the customer journey, we're all about building relationships. We're not trying to sell you anything on this webinar. So if we can help you by adding this really cool tool onto your website, then that's just the start of a potential good relationship for us. So that is why we're offering this. We don't make any money from the free version of Talk. We just became a partner because it's easier for us to help sign our customers up to this brilliant tool. So in summary, I've already been through the 5 things and finished with the bonus live chat. I'm going to come to some questions in a sec because I think we've got a few minutes left. I just want to kind of, before we go to questions, just kind of have a what now? So I'd love your feedback on the webinar. This is the first webinar that Redbox has done as ourselves. So if you could, after the webinar, go to our website, redboxweb.co.uk/webinar-feedback. If you submit your feedback, you'll then be redirected to a page where you can download a copy of these slides. You can download the action steps checklist, which is a full checklist of all the items covered. There's a button there to sign up for a free chat box, along with a form that we'll submit to us as a request, and we'll help you set the chat box up completely free of charge. And also, if you feel you want some more help from us and you want us to do a completely free, no obligation review of your website, then you'll also be able to click to a link on there. So that is the webinar content finished. I'm now going to go over to our questions and see Claire. Do you want to send me some questions via Slack rather than me scanning through all the questions? In fact, there's one already here. I can see Jamie. Quick question regarding the live chat box. Can it be customized so that you can turn it on and off? I wouldn't be available to engage with people on it 9 till 5. So yeah, it can be switched on and off on a schedule, Jamie. Talk, the reason Talk offer this free version is they also have a paid version where you can actually pay somebody, I think it's £1 an hour, to answer chats on your behalf. So you could have a managed chat version, but yeah, it can be customized so it's on and off at a time that suits you. And when it's off, you can choose to have it so it can still collect messages, or it could potentially just disappear off the website while it's not scheduled in. So I think that is all the questions answered by the looks of it. Yep. In fact, no, there is one more. So yeah, the webinar is recorded. So when it finishes, everyone will, I think all the attendees will automatically get a link. I'll make sure that happens so you can watch it all at your leisure. So thank you very much for attending. I really hope you found that useful. It would be amazing if you could all visit the feedback page and leave us your feedback. Once again, thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Hope it's sunny where you are, and I shall see you next time. Thank you and goodbye.